Welcome back to the Crochet Chronicles with my friends over at michaels.com. Today we're going to do the winter hat, and we also have the winter scarf that matches this design. And then what you see here is the V-stitch puff stitch, and it is really quite fabulous. So this is just a sample of what the scarf would look like if it was done, and we have a tutorial available for that as well. So today we're going to be focusing on the hat, and it is really amazing. We have a beautiful pom-pom that's added to the top of this, and because it's thick yarn, it is the Caron Tea Cake yarn as well as an 8mm size L crochet hook. It is no time at all to whip this up, and because the colors transition within the yarn itself, the hat looks amazing regardless of whatever way you look at it. So I'm really excited about this, and hopefully you are too. So there are two different colors in the particular pattern depending on what style you like. Maybe you like more artsy, or maybe you're just like more everyday look. It doesn't matter, and both of the two pictures that are available for this particular hat is the exact same pattern. So without further ado, let's take a look at the yarn and then let's dive into this pattern. This video has sound alerts added. When you hear this sound, it will be your signal that the segment is finishing up. Press stop and crochet the instructions, and then press play again to continue along in your project. So today's yarn of choice is actually the Caron Tea Cakes. This is beautiful yarn. I love all the yarn that you see with inside, and it changes through dye technique of one color to another quite quickly. And so it's really quite fabulous, and you'll find that it will go a long way, and I am so excited about this particular yarn line. You have no idea. So today I'm going to be whipping up another hat, and you know what? Because these are for women, I'm going to be tossing mine in a donation bin at the end of today's tutorial, and this is a really great idea if you're looking for quick ideas for charity. This is it. So let's begin to work on this hat together. So let's begin to work on this hat, and let's create a slip knot, and we are using our Caron Tea Cake yarn 8mm size L crochet hook today, and we're going to put this under the hook, and remember that this never counts as one when we go to do this. So let's begin, and we are going to chain 2. So go 1 and 2, and let's begin round number 1 immediately. So immediately for round number 1, we're gonna come into the second chain from the hook, which is the very first chain, and I want you to put 6 single crochets into that one. So let's count those out together. So 1 and 2, and let it rotate around in your fingers. This is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that you have your 6 in there, if you're not sure which one is the 6th one away, you can count it back. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and go into the 6th one back, and if you can identify the very beginning anyway, it's good to go, and then just join it with the slip stitch to form the interior circle, just like this. This hole will be covered by the pom-pom at top, but if you're not going to use a pom-pom, just take a darning needle and just pull that together shut at the very top. Let's begin round number 2. So let's begin round number 2. We're going to chain up 1, and in the one that you did the join with, I want you to place 2 single crochets in it. So go 1 and 2 into the same one, and then all the rest of the stitches, okay, there's a total of 5 left, will all each have 2 single crochets into it. So 1 and 2, and then you move to the next stitch, 1 and 2, next stitch is 1 and 2, next stitch is 1 and 2, and then the final stitch is 1 and 2. And you're thinking to yourself, well, it looks like you have another stitch left. That's not a stitch, that's part of the very first one. If you're not sure, you can count back the groups. There should be 6. So one group of 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and once you are confirmed that, just join it to the very first single crochet that you had started with, and you'll see that that gapping space that you have will pull itself shut like so. So that's round number 2. Let's begin round number 3. So now in round number 3, we're gonna play with some fun stitches, and it's now the puff stitch for the majority of this hat, not all the way, the brim is different, and we're going to chain 2. Remember that the chain 2 doesn't count as anything, it's a builder within today's project. So right in the same one that you have the join, okay, you want to do a puff stitch into the same one. Okay, so let's begin, and you want to go in and pull through. We're doing a puff stitch right now, and then wrap and going into the same thing and pull through. And if you've done the scarf, it's the exact same stitch, and then pull through all 4 loops and then pull for the final 2, and that was a puff stitch. So it's a V-stitch puff. So you're gonna chain up 1 and into the exact same stitch I want you to wrap the hook going into the same stitch, pull through, and then wrap the hook again going into the same stitch and pull through, and then pull through the 4 loops and then through the final 2. So what we want to do is that we want to go all the way around like this. So we're gonna skip the next single crochet and go to the second one over and do the same thing. So it's a V-stitch puff. So there's gonna be a puff stitch, chain 1, and puff stitch. So skipping 1, second chain over. So you're gonna do the first puff, okay, and then chain 1 and then do the next puff into the same one. And you're gonna do that all the way around on this particular level. Okay, so you're gonna go all the way around like that. So you skip the next one and then V-stitch puff into the next, skip the next one and V-stitch puff, and please do that all the way around for round number 3. So you got the last V-stitch puff and then you skip the last one and then the V-stitch is first up. So just think that this one here is part of that one, so that's not a stitch, so that's the final one that you're gonna skip, and now you're gonna join it to the top of the first puff that you began. So that was round number 3. So I'm just kind of flipping it this way so that the middle is coming out towards me. Let's begin round number 4. So now we're gonna start round number 4. So right now we're on the top of the first side of the V-stitch, and then you have the chain 1 and then the other side here. So our goal is to get ourselves in between the V-stitches where they open. So in order to do that you have to slip stitch to the first chain 1 space. So now you're right in between here. So round number 4 is really about serious growth to get this hat to go bigger. So what we're gonna do is that we're going to chain 2 and it counts as nothing, okay, so it's just a builder, and now we're gonna do a V-stitch into the same V-stitch that you have, and you're gonna wrap and do your V-stitch or do your puff and then chain 1 and then V back, or do your puff back in to create the V. So round number 4 is all about extreme growth. So round number 4, what we have to do you see this? This is the next V-stitch right here, and this is the space in between. Okay, we have to, in round number 4, we have to go in between where they're sitting, and we're gonna do V-stitches in here and here. So it's not just in the one section like we did with the scarf. So it's gonna be adding a section there. So we're gonna go in between the 2 V's and creating another V-stitch puff. Okay, and then you go into the next V right itself. So it creates a nice open look, but it actually makes it expand really quite nicely. So the next V-stitch is in here, and then the next one is in between the 2 V's, just like there. Okay, so let's just do that to make sure that you got it. Okay, so this is one V-stitch, and this is between the actual V-stitches that are in below, and then the next one is in between the 2 V's right here. So please do that all the way around for round number 4. When you come all the way back around, I'm in the middle of a V-stitch here, just like you see. Don't forget you have to go into the space, because that separates that V-stitch from this V-stitch. So don't forget to do that, and you should have a total of 12 V-stitch puffs going all the way around the circle. So you can see it really expanded on this round. Just like that. So once you get that done, just join it to the top of the first V-stitch to conclude round number 4. So that's what it looks like right now. So let's begin round number 5. Round number 5 super easy. So what we need to do is we need to give this hat time to expand. So what we have to do is that we have to slip stitch ourselves to the first section. Do you see the V-stitch here? We have to go right to the first space first to slip stitch and then begin. So we chain up 2, doesn't count as anything, and then in between each V-stitch like you have, you're gonna put in a V-stitch. So don't go in between the V-stitches, go right on the V-stitches itself to do that. So you have 12 V-stitches currently in the circle, and then when you're done this round you're just putting 1 V-stitch into each of the V-stitches, so you'll still end up with 12, but you'll notice that it will still it'll still open up beautifully on that. So just jump to the next V-stitch right here and then do it again, and you're gonna do that all the way around for round number 5. So please do that and meet me at the end of this round. So coming up to the end of round number 5, and we just wanted to join it, so I'm right in between the V's right here. See that? Right in the middle. And then we're just gonna join it. So now we're gonna go for round number 6. Round number 6 is the final growth, if you can imagine, of making this bigger, and you're actually, it's pretty fast, isn't it? So let's begin round number 6. So let's begin round number 6. It's actually really super easy. The instructions just have you growing this. The problem is if you have it too incremental, then it grows too big, so it's got to be very strategic. So the designer's done a great job with this. So we're gonna move ourselves to the first, chain 1 space, and get ourselves ready for now round number 6. So we're gonna chain 2, does not count as anything, and we're gonna do a V-stitch right into that same space. Okay, so here's the repeat pattern for this as we go all the way around. So what we're gonna do is in between the next V's right here. Okay, so here's a V, here's a V. We're gonna go right in between. We're gonna put a V-stitch in there. So this is part of the growth of making this hat bigger. Okay, so here is the repeat pattern. The next 4 right into the V-stitch itself is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and after you do 4 you're gonna go into the space in between the next 2 V's. Okay, so there's gonna be 4 in a row. So let's do that. Make sure you got it. So you're gonna go right into the next V itself and do a V-stitch. So that was 1 of 4. So you jump to the next V-stitch and put in another V-stitch here. So that was 2 of 4. You're gonna go into the next one. Okay, that was 3 of 4. You're gonna go into the next one. And then what are you gonna do? So that's the repeat pattern. So the next one is gonna be in between the 2 V's. So right there. Okay, so the repeat pattern then going around is that the next 4, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you go into the space in between the next 2, and then what this will do is that it will leave 3 V-stitches left for you at the very end that you fill in, and then you join it to the top. So I'll see you at that moment. Okay, so make sure that you do that, and so just remember into the V-stitch 1, 2, 3, and 4, go into the space in between, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then join to the end. I'll see you at the end of this round. So I'm coming all the way back around on the end of round number 6. I'm in the last V. I join it to the top. So the growth is now officially done. So it still has to get a bit bigger, and it will get bigger because it'll stretch out. So for the next rounds 7 all the way until the hat measures 7 inches from top to bottom. Okay, so it has to get to 7 inches, and then you're just gonna do the same round. So to start the next round, again just slip stitch to the middle of the V, and then chain up 2, counts as nothing, and then each V-stitch all the way around is gonna get a V-stitch in it, and then you join it to the beginning, and then you do it again and again until you get your 7 inches done. So what I want you to do is that I want you to do this round plus get all the way to your 7 inches, and then meet me back here, and then we'll start reviewing on how to do the rim. So just jump to the next middle of the V and put a V in, and so on, and please do that all the way around, and continue to do this all the way around every time until it gets to 7 inches. I'll see you at the end of this section. When I last left you, we had to get 7 inches, and honestly it wasn't that long, just a few moments here off camera. So now what I want to do is that once I have my 7 inches from here to here, I want to make the next round to be going into half double crochet only. So what we have to do is that we have to chain 2, 1 and 2, and I have to do this in a way that gets 38 of half double crochet going all right away around here. There's more than 38 stitches going all the way around, so you have to equally space out 38. So remember, chaining a 2 doesn't count as anything, so you just have to eye it up and just make a judgment call and make sure that you end up on 38 right near the end. You may have to try this a few times. I know that with my other sample I tried twice, so I did it once and I was not successful. I was short just by a little bit, and then I did it again, and then I was good. So you just have to equally space out, just kinda eye it up and just count out loud to yourself. So that was 1 and 2, and then just go into spaces 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, and 10. So get all the way to 38 all the way around, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So I now have 35 stitches in, 35, 36, 37, and 38. This is my actual first time around, and I just want to join it. The trick is here, okay, so here's the trick. You have to make sure it's an even number. So even if you have 40 around, you know what, probably wouldn't make too much of a difference. Don't tell anybody I told you that. So as long as it's an even number, because you're gonna be doing rib stitching and it's based on 2. So if you wanna have a little bit more room to it, see here, you can have a little bit more open if you want to. If you want to expand, put a few more extra stitches in. Just make sure it's an even number. Let's begin the next round, and it's actually really quite easy from this point, and we're gonna get this done in no time at all. So the next round is gonna be very easy. So we're going to chain up 2. Remember, it doesn't count as anything, it's a builder. And we're gonna start the very first one, and we're gonna go around the post. So we're just gonna wrap the hook, and we're gonna do a double crochet front post, so around the side of the post and out the other side, and double crochet. And then the next one will be in the post, but from the back. So just wrap it and come from the back and out to the back. This is the back post, double crochet, and that pulls it behind. The next one is in front. So wrap, going in through the side and back out the other side, and then the other one's from the back and out the back, just like that. This is a rib stitch, and this is front post, back post, and please do the same thing going all the way around. This is why you need it to have an even number, so that you can have the rib stitching equal out, so that it stays in balance by the time you get all the way around. So if you have an odd number, what happens is that you'll have 2 stitches that appear not to be in the ribbing, but will stand out like a sore thumb. So please do that all the way around, front post, back post, all the way around, and we'll see you at the end. So when you get all the way back around, remember that you have the builder here. That doesn't count as anything, but you should have the last stitch being a back post double crochet, because the first one on the other side here was a front post. So just join it to the top of the front post, double crochet, and then you were going to do 3 more rounds of what I'm about to show you. So this round plus 2 other times. So you chain up 2, and this one here is on the front post, so you're gonna keep it on the front post to keep the rib stitching going. The next one is on the back post, so you keep that on the back post, and you do that and match it all the way around. So what you're gonna do is this round plus 2 more times of this, and then you're done, and that'll be the end of that. So what I want you to do is do this round plus 2 more times, and then meet me at the end of this section. So I'm just coming up all the way around to my last section here, and that's it. I'm done. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to hide in my loose end just by trimming it here, and I'm gonna pull through, and I highly recommend a darning needle at this point, because you don't want any loose tails falling out on you at all. So just feed the tail into a darning needle. Now my needle is pretty small, and this is really thick yarn, and all you just want to do is just drag it through underneath the stitches. So try not to impede the outside edge section just there, and just drag it on through. Like so, and it just happened to fall off, so I'm gonna do it again. Of course you can always do it perfectly when nobody's watching, right? It's like trying to type in the keyboard. So you're just gonna go in again the other direction. So you want to just weave this in underneath the stitches so that it stays out of the way, and etc. So then what you can just do then is just clean up the edges, and then you could just safely trim it down to the project. I just gotta take my time a little bit and be able to weave this in. I want to give this as a charity item away, so I want to make sure I just take it all apart here and just retry again and make sure I get it in. This yarn is really thick and my needle is really quite small, so I just got a little bit of an extra challenge for me, and I know I have a thicker needle around here somewhere, but I'm not sure where. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as Michaels.com. Please enjoy. You can do the pom-pom if you wish, and there's instructions on the pattern to do that. Mine was handmade, but you can also buy pre-made ones as well, and I did a pom-pom maker with mine, but there's instructions in case you want to use cardboard or anything like that. Have a great day. We'll see you again real soon, and enjoy your new hat.